Onazi is going to be the reason Blue Lock is saved from elimination. And here's how. First, I'm going to explain what I think is going to happen, and then I'm going to give you guys 3 reasons why I believe this is going to be the case. Here it goes. So to be straightforward about what happens, I believe that Onazi and possibly the rest of the Nigeria team will have an awakening and score a goal or 2 against England. Now, I don't think they're gonna win, but this goal will cause Blue Lock Japan to get past the group stage due to a goal differential against England. Now, off my words alone, this could be a little difficult to visualize. And also, there could be many different possibilities and combinations of goals that could make this happen, so I'll give you an example. Let's say Japan loses to France 4-2. Now, this isn't anything crazy or controversial. I think it's pretty accepted among the community that Japan will lose to France. Now, that will put them at 1 win, 1 loss with a +2 goal differential, and this is important. Now, let's go on to the England versus Nigeria. Again, I don't think Nigeria is going to win, but let's say England is up 3-0. Onazi and the rest of Nigeria finally finish that awakening and are able to turn that 0 into 1. They score a goal against England, thus the game ends 3-1. Now, England lost to France 2-1, so they're a -1, and because they beat Nigeria by 2, they are now +1 goal differential with 1 win and 1 loss. This now means that Blue Lock only needs to get a draw against England to narrowly pass the group stage. And I believe that's what's going to happen in the story. Now, it does not have to be this exact combination of numbers. The only thing that matters is that by the end of the second games, Japan still has an extra goal differential on England. That way they can draw and Blue Lock can still go through. Now, I understand this sounds rather anticlimactic, especially compared to how Blue Lock has been. Obviously, the members of Blue Lock are going to want to win every single game. They're not going to settle for a draw. But considering how the narrative is so far, I think this is the most likely circumstance. And now I'm going to explain the reasons why. And just a heads up, the third reason actually has to do with a member of the new Gen World 11. So without further ado, here's the first reason. So Onazi has quite a bit of backstory within their first match against Japan. We see how Onazi developed his ego and what caused him to be the kind of soccer player that he is now. That being said, it is ultimately crushed by Asagi. Now, regardless, it does seem like Onazi is still willing to try and to catch up to Asagi. Now, let's be honest, this probably isn't gonna happen. So some way, shape or form, Onazi has to have importance in the story outright. As cheesy as it sounds, especially for a story like Blue Lock, it does seem that as long as players don't give up, there's always some sort of comeback that they're able to have. It's only the players that straight up accept their defeat that are ultimately just casted off the story. And of course, Onazi isn't one of them. But at the same time, Onazi again just doesn't have that much importance that we're gonna follow his arc after the U20 World Cup. So, his awakening is likely to come against England one way or another. But like I said, since it's very unlikely they defeat England, I do believe his goal is going to have to matter in the narrative somehow, which leads me to my next point. Before I go on to the second point, I just want to say thanks to anyone who's watching up to this point. Please, I can't beg you enough, subscribe, leave a like, share this video. I'm really trying to hit that 1K so I can make some money out of this. I am broke, as you guys can see by the screen. This is honestly my bank account. So please share some love. Thank you. So my next point is the cushion, right? There's a 4-goal cushion that Blue Lock has been able to gain from defeating Nigeria 4-0. Now, I know that it made a lot of sense narrative-wise. As I explained in my last video, if your team does not have a new Gen World 11, it's probably just going to be cannon fodder for the protagonist. But there's no reason why they couldn't win 4-1 or 4-2. There's no reason why Onazi couldn't score that first goal and then Blue Lock turned around and scored 3 or 4. As a matter of fact, with Asagi-led teams, this actually is quite the norm. Usually he will lose the first goal and then proceed to win the game anyways. At one point he even fell 3-0 against Nagi and Rayo's team. But of course in all these games he managed to win anyway. Especially considering that Onazi could have just had an awakening and maybe scored 1 goal after down 4-0. That would have showed his character, how he never gives up. That would have actually wrapped up his backstory well enough, I guess. So at the end of the day, the fact that Onazi didn't score and that Blue Lock won by such a big margin has to matter narrative wise, which is why I believe they're gonna win thanks to a goal differential. But again, you might think that sounds anticlimactic, right? Why not Blue Lock just defeat England and that goal differential doesn't matter? Blue Lock would win the group stage 2 wins, 1 losses with an abundantly high goal differential, like with +5 or something. Wouldn't that be great? Except not. In fact, that would be way too overpowered for Blue Lock at this stage because they are still missing one key player, which goes on to my next point. So if you haven't noticed, yes, the new Gen World 11 I mentioned in the beginning is Saitoshi. And yes, I know it's Saitoshi, not Seitoshi. Thank you guys for bringing that up in my last video. But Saitoshi is not in that team yet. And if Blue Lock manages to win by a lot, even though he's not in the team yet, then this makes him ridiculously overpowered. I think Blue Lock managing to get past the group stage against 2 contenders for the whole cup very narrowly makes the most sense, again considering they don't have their best player yet. And that's really all the reasons. But even though I said 3, I want to give a 4th reason to the few people here who chose to stay. So Face Danny here. The only thing I want to add is, if the last game is a draw, I really want to know the internal dialogue, the narratives that might be going on inside the team. How many players will be fine with just going for the draw, and how many will have the mentality of let's win anyway. Now I'm sure in the beginning of the match, of course, they're just going to want to win. But let's say they're tied down the line, 2-2 for example. How many players are going to want to park the bus, and how many players are going to want to keep trying to score more? It's going to show an interesting dynamic between using logic and survival against just the insatiable ego of always trying to score. So I just kind of wanted to add that last part there. But this is also going to be my outro, so guys, thanks again for showing love, and see you in the next video.